Hello there, and welcome to the tour of the Coyote Tank Destroyer, the 8th vehicle in my Armoured Fighting Hover Vehicles series of vehicles. My name is Wimperman, and I'm the Chief Designer, Chief Builder, Chief Architect, and of course Chief Dumbass of the Coyote Tank Destroyer project. Now, this is a new build, so there is no original vehicle to show you. You'll be happy to know. So, let's start the tour of the Coyote then, with the first segment, its role and its task equipment. So, as a tank destroyer, its role is anti-armor, specifically anti-tank, but obviously it could be used to destroy pretty much any vehicle as a tank destroyer. Now, in order to facilitate that task, it has frontal armor, but it's relatively light otherwise. It's also got a low profile, so it's slightly harder to hit, air quotes. It also has some anti-shield weaponry and some fairly heavy-hitting anti-block weapon. Right, so that's the end of that segment. The next one then is its propulsion, handling, and lift capacity. Starting with its propulsion then, let's pop my HUD back on and get the multi-tool out. Oh, actually, yeah, don't need the multi-tool. So it has 2 Tier 2 and 2 Tier 1 medium thrusters for forward acceleration, and the same again for reverse. And it has 3 Tier 2 medium thrusters for its lateral thrust on each side. Do you know, I'm going to do this early this time. There we go. Shut up, ramp. So there we go. So for lifting, it has 4 small hover engines on by default, plus another 4 set to max lift. Now, it will operate in 1G with the 4 default hover engines on, but it won't operate. I mean, it might go up to, say, 1.2G, for example, but I'm pretty sure it won't go up to 2G. However, with all 8 hover engines on, it will lift 40.8 tons in 4G, and the vehicle itself weighs 30.8 tons. So you've got another 10 tons to play with ammo and, well, that's about it, actually. Ammo and yourself. So its mobility, starting with its maneuverability, it will do 20 meters per second squared acceleration in the forward and the reverse directions. It'll do 18 meters per second squared in the sideways directions. Its agility is made up by 35 degrees per second of yaw, 12 degrees per second roll, and 9 degrees per second pitch, which, as I've said in other tours, I don't find particularly important. As for its handling, this is how it handles. This is even with pilot mode off. It's pretty decent. I mean, I'm sure other people might be able to build better handling, but when it comes to, in comparison with my other AFHVs, it's actually not too bad. I can't remember exactly what the stats of the Fox Light Hover Tank is, but I think it's on par. Shall we have a look? Do you care? Oh, and since I've opened up my web browser, this was the vehicle that it's loosely based on. The, Swedish, I think? Swedish, yeah. And yeah, you can sort of see that low profile and the very gradual slope I have sort of mimicked, sort of loosely. It is, yeah, it's, you can sort, if you squint, you can sort of see it. Right. Here we go, the Fox Light Hover Tank. Maneuverability is 25 meters per second squared acceleration. So actually it's a bit better. and its agility is 39. So actually, again, it's a bit better with its agility. Although it's not, massively different. So where this one spends its CPU is its weaponry. I'm sure you can guess. Right, that's the end of that segment. So the next segment then is its power, fuel, and air. So its power generation is provided by 4 large generators. And I'm sure you can guess why we need 4, because this isn't the first AFHV that has needed them for the same reason. Fuel tanks, it has 3 large and 1 small. Now, that's a bit less than I would have liked, but as you can see, it's quite a small vehicle, really. So if you don't count the turret and the few blocks around it that help protect it, this vehicle is only 4 blocks tall. And it's only 3 blocks internal, plus a bit of space for the components, so it's only 7 wide. I mean, if you count these as a full block, it is a bit wider, but obviously the game does. So yeah, it's quite a small vehicle, so that's why it's only got that amount of fuel. Its air, again, is limited. 1 air tank, O2 tank. It has 1 ventilator, and it has no O2 stations. So that's your lot. 1 O2 tank, and it makes the interior breathable. Right, that's the end of that segment. The next segment then is its weapons, defenses, and construction. So its weapons, its primary weapon is the railgun that you can see mounted at the front there. It also has a plasma turret to help take down the shields of any vehicle you might be fighting, or that this is fighting, I should say. It does also have a a pulse laser gun, fixed weapon, again to help with taking down any shields. It also has 2 Gatling guns, which are set to... Oh, I should have told you, by the way, the plasma is set to anti-vehicle, so it will target the weaponry of HVs. It'll also target drones. The Gatling turrets are set to point defense, so they will target the weaponry of SVs and drones and infantry. And actually I think the plasma will target infantry as well, yeah. I kind of wanted to keep it on drones, so that's why. Although I think I can... No, I have to have one of those. Okay, well, whatever. So that's that. And then it has a fixed Gatling gun on the other side, just because there actually wasn't enough CPU to get 2 pulse lasers on it, but there was to get a pulse laser and a Gatling gun. And that's just in case these turrets are being dopey and they're not wanting to lock onto, the Xerax trooper with the rocket launcher who's blowing you up. At least you've got something you can use to pinpoint the thing that you need to kill. So, defenses, it has a shield, so it therefore has a pentaxid tank, which I should have said in the fuel, but never mind. It does have some armor. Now, the armor is combat steel, and most of the front is combat steel. Up to there is all combat steel, except for the side skirts. Then on this slope, it's just the inner blocks, and the outer blocks aren't. And then the little bit above the seat is, and then the bits around the turrets. Oh, sorry, just the front bit. Okay. Yes, that's right. I downgraded to save weight and CPU. I think, yeah, there you go. That one block there is combat steel. Everything else is hardened steel, apart from the little bit around the front of the side skirts protecting the front thrusters. Now, you do have to be careful if you're fighting something front on, which you would have to be to use the gun, but do bear in mind there are no blocks in front of the thrusters. and that's just because basically it's that's hang on, function following form actually, because I wanted to look more like the what was it, whatever it was, that Swedish tank destroyer. So that's the end of that segment. The next segment then is its resource gathering, production and storage. Like most of the AFHVs, this is going to be a relatively short segment. Resource gathering, it has none. Production, it has none. Storage, it has a 2,500 ammo container. Now, you do have to be careful when your shields drop if you're front on. So this is a kind of vehicle where you really ought to back off before your shields drop. Not just to save the thrusters, but the ammo container is basically filling up the front end. You can just make out the one bit of part of it there. So it goes from behind here, obviously around the detector. There's the detector, by the way. And it fills up this entire space around these thrusters. And that, by the way, in case you're wondering, is just a bit of lag shot armor. Oh, which I believe is combat steel. I think the front... Oh, that one is, and then that one is. Although, so originally the core was in the middle of the vehicle, and then I decided that the Wi-Fi should actually be in the middle of the vehicle. So really, I should have upgraded the other block, but never mind. Right, so storage. So 2,500 SU ammo container and a massive small cargo box. And that's it. That's it. Because again, it's tiny, relatively. Right, that's the end of that segment. The next segment then is its interior layout and any remaining devices. Right, she's back on the floor. So to get in, it's through the door on the back, as is the case with most of them, for Pete's sake, most of the vehicles. Of course, I forgot I turned the signals off. There we go. So the door, the ramps and that one light is on that motion sensor. The door is manual. And as you can probably tell, you do have to crouch to get in and walk around inside it, because you only actually get 2.5 blocks of space in here. So you come in and you've got the shield generator on the left. Behind that is the only O2 tank and a bit of the thruster. Oh, I wanted to say as well, actually, that I would have liked to have gotten that thruster there, but unfortunately it comes into the interior space. As you can see, that's it there. So it would have took up that. No, there. It would have been there. And so therefore, this would have needed to have been somewhere else. And in case you want to know, this one block here, I couldn't remove and put it there because that's that block there. Oh, I'm not going to be able to crouch in there again, am I? There we go. Right, so opposite the shield generator is the 4 power generators. There's one there, there's one behind it, also stood upright, and then there's 2 lying flat there and 1 below it. The cargo box, as you saw, is there, and I'm sure you can notice the CPU extenders are then forward of the cargo box. On the opposite side is the pentaxid tank and half of one of the fuel tanks. The other fuel tanks are behind there. So imagine on the other side, these are both fuel tanks over there. So that's where they are, hiding behind the extenders. As you can also see, we have 2 of my usual heads-up display, holo display head things to show you what the shortcuts are for toggling the stuff on and off. In case you're wondering or care, that's that one and that one. The only 2 LCD projectors in here, actually. I'm sure you also noticed the light is powered by that motion sensor, or controlled, I should say. I'm sure you also saw the ventilator there. The only other remaining devices, because we've already seen the detect... Oh no, I did also show you the Wi-Fi, because it's in front of the seat. We saw it from the other side. And it's what the detector is attached to. So there we go. That moves us on then to the next segment, which is its shortcuts and signals. Starting with the device groups, as usual, the first one is the propulsion, etc. That will turn on all of the thrusters and what I referred to earlier as the default hover engines. The next one down is max lift to turn on the other hover engines. Then there's the headlight switch, which turns on the two little lights that are set to spotlight mode on the front. Now these are the narrow angle, in case this is the, in case you've seen other tours of mine where I've shown you wide angle lights on the front of the tanks. I'm hoping that because these lights are small, they're smaller than the actual spotlights, that they'll get lost less. Is one of the reasons why I'm using them. So I'm sure you noticed as well, the next one down was the tail lights. Of course, I have my red flares on the back. If you don't like them, you can of course... Oh, hang on. You can of course turn them off, and if you hate them, you can multi-tool them off. And finally, of the device groups is the ventilator. Now, just in case this is the first tour of mine you see, I will I will go through this real quick. If you look at the power left and you turn oxygen off, nothing changes, because although it sucks the air in, it doesn't turn the ventilator off. So if we turn the ventilator off with this switch, you'll see that the power left does change. So if you're in an atmosphere that is breathable, you can save a bit more power. That moves us on then to the custom signals shortcuts. Of course, as usual, the first one is power save. Now on this vehicle it doesn't do much, but it does do one thing that it doesn't do on others. So as normal, it will turn off the motion sensors that control the lights and the ramp. It will also turn off the LCDs and the Wi-Fi. That's all the usual stuff. But unusually, it will also turn off the railgun. Now, it's just for the looks, but I quite like having that out constantly. It looks more like a tank destroyer with it out. But I felt it should be retractable in some fashion to save power, so it's on power save. Obviously, you can change it if you want. I'm sure you can figure out how to. So you can change that to a different signal, maybe add a new one. But at the moment, it's on power save. All right, the next few down, in fact, all of them, apart from the bottom one, are all the weapons. So you have one for the plasma turret on top, one for the Gatling guns on the side, Gatling turrets, on the sides. There's one for the pulse laser and one for the Gatling gun. Now, the reason I gave them all separate signal switches is because if you, for example, came upon like some raptors, for example, and you wanted to kill the raptors, I didn't feel it necessary to turn all of the weapons on just to do that. So I thought it would be nice to be able to just turn on what you need in that given moment, is the idea. Right, and finally then is the closed door switch. Again, I'll cover this just in case this isn't if this is the first tour of mine you've seen. Now, as you can see, the shutter door is open at the moment. If you open it to walk in and then you sit in the seat without forgetting to close it, I didn't want you to have to get out the seat again to come back and close it. So if you flick the switch, it will close it, and it will only close it, it won't open it again. Right, that's the end of that segment, and the next and last segment is its CPU and upgrading. This is going to be a fairly quick segment. So its CPU, it is just over tier 3 at 30,100 and change out of the 30,000 you are allowed. Now that does mean it's 98% efficient. It said 99% last night, and I haven't changed anything. Boo. Oh, well, whatever. Do you know what? Is it even in the screenshot? That one? No. That one. There you go. Look, see? I wasn't lying. 99%, and that's it. Coyote Tank Destroyer. 99%. So since last night, it's decided it's lost a percent. What have I changed? Have I changed anything? No, I don't think I have. After taking that screenshot and all the other screenshots, I basically, so this tank here, this tank destroyer is actually, oh, I closed it down. I know people don't care, but just in case. So this one that we are looking at, for some reason I have to scroll the other way on this thing. So this was the tank destroyer, the Coyote, that I took all of the screenshots with. And once I took this screenshot just here, that then became the grey one on the end. Oh, come on now. Sometimes, Steam, you're a pain in the ass. Stop pretending I'm grabbing hold of it. Right, anyway, right. So the actual Coyote that all the screenshots were taken with was that one. I then spawned these 3 in and painted these 2. And then I deleted that one, and that one, and filled this one full of fuel and O2 for the tour, and then turned the game off, basically. So I don't know why it's saying 98% now instead of 99 when that's the only thing I've done. It makes no sense. Anyway, where was I? So CPU. So you already know where the core is and the CPU extenders, but just in case you're skipping around in the video, the core is on the right-hand side in front of the seat, and also in front of the CPU extenders, which are to the right-hand side of the seat as well. Upgrading, that's it. So there isn't actually an upgrade path on this vehicle. As I'm sure you can guess, it's too small to leave any blank spaces to put extra stuff in. That doesn't mean you can't personalize it, but I mean, I'm sure people can throw turrets on all over the place if they really wanted to. Although, where would you put the other extenders? I don't actually know. But there you go. I mean, if you want to do something with it, you're obviously more than welcome to. And even if you weren't, I couldn't stop you. Right, now, as usual, before we leave, I will show you that it comes with other colours, although I just show you the screenshots, actually. So it comes in the desert sand, but I also give the option of this military green and this Arctic white, which, as you can probably tell, is ever so slightly blue, and this even more ever so slightly bluer dark grey. And I can prove it's ever so slightly blue because it's 41 blues and only 40 each of the reds and greens. Yeah. There we go. And I'm sure I don't need to say it, but just in case I do, you can, of course, replace these with other colours if you wish. But I've given you 4 for, you know, blending in with different environments. This one, obviously, sand and, you know, desert, jungle and Arctic regions, polar regions. And then the dark grey maybe for something like a lava planet, for example. Right, so there we go then. That'll be the end of the tour of the Coyote. Thank you very much for taking an interest in it. Hopefully you get some use out of it, and hopefully I will see you in another video for a different build. So thank you again, and goodbye.